I don't believe in taking a single payout out of an XFA ever.
Do you think traders need to focus on one prop firm at a time, or do you think they should try all of them until they find what fits?
No one has a live account at Topstep older than mine.
Someone that smoked the Padron all the time, and I never smoked Connecticut rolled, like wrapped, these light
There's only 3 Connecticut's I smoke, and this is one of them.
Do you feel like instant funded accounts are almost too good to be true? Is it a scam?
You need to switch your mindset to like, I just want winning trades.
What's up, traders? Welcome back to the Day Trading Show. I'm your host, Austin Silver. We are in person today with a very special guest. Isaac Rivera is back for part 2. We're talking all things prop firms, the keys for payouts, the drama that's going on right now. Like I said, basically A to Z of how to get funded, how to dodge the drama, and how to take money out of your accounts. So sit down, focus. Probably watch this one because we're in person, so it's cool. We're smoking cigars, hanging out in Ybor. It's awesome. But we appreciate you guys being here. Check out the links down below. Sponsors are there. Isaac's links are there. Everything's there. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And now, let's get into the conversation. Traders, welcome back to the podcast. We've got a very special episode today, buddy. Part 2 with Isaac Rivera. Before we get into the podcast, he's getting our cigars ready. As you can see, we've got or maybe you can't see, depends on what the angle is. The Futures 2-day Bootcamp is coming up. Isaac is going to be joining us as a guest speaker. We've got Joey Morgan, Zach Boyajian, Tanner Owings, Evan Dyer. A bunch of people are going to be speaking. We decided to do something fun for listeners. Isaac's like, yeah, we did. What we're going to do is we have 10 seats left. Literally exactly 10 people can fit in the room, and then it's sold out. Of the next 10 buyers, starting the day that this podcast premieres, once we sell out, we'll pick one of the 10, just the final 10, to get 2 nights free at the hotel. We want to comp that for you to make it even more affordable. The ticket itself is only $500, which I think is super cheap for the 2-day thing. Now we're going to cover the hotel. So if you want information on the event, there's more details, your ticket purchase link, all of that will be in the description. We'd love to see you guys there. It's going to be a lot of VWAP, but also what's cool is you bringing, thank you, sir, bringing a different perspective from VWAP with volume profile. And I think they complement each other really, really well. So, buddy, before we get into questions, cheers.
Cheers.
How you feeling?
Feeling great. Thanks for having me on.
Dude,
I feel like it was just yesterday that we did part 1. Here we are, episode 2, part 2, whatever you want to call it. And
pull that in real close. Pull that microphone in real close. Right. Yeah, get that deep voice. Even closer, even closer. Get it as close as you can. Yeah, good. It does feel recent, but it is recent because people wanted it. So everybody, I have my phone, I have notes in front of me here. That's because we want to be deliberate with our time today. We're going to give an hour. We're going to be focused. We're really just going to jump into the deep end. So if you haven't heard part 1, not that you need to, you're still going to learn a lot from this, but I would recommend watching part 1. It kind of sets the stage, right? A lot of people were really impressed with your approach to funded accounts, your approach to taking payouts. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk risk management, but let's kind of start high level prop firm stuff lately, bro. A lot of drama. PW, Danny Trades, drama. You avoid the drama.
I try to.
Even when PW tries to suck you in and say that good looking Hispanic dude with the cigars or whatever he said, bro. What's your take on all the drama between prop firm CEOs and even affiliates right now? Give us your input.
So there's obviously 3 things going on right now, right? You have obviously the trolls that have built a business model around that, right? Stirring the pot, ruffling up feathers. You know, unfortunately, you look at reality TV and everything else, drama's a big business. It really is.
Sex sells, drama sells. Dude, have you seen that TV show Montoya, por favor? Bro, 22 million views. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
look it up.
That show is wild, bro. Why? Because it's drama.
It's drama.
It's drama.
So
real.
People obviously have built business around exploiting people's weaknesses, right? And egos and everything else. And it's a great way to just kind of drive traffic to whatever their platform or their brand is. So that's going on. And then the second piece is competitiveness in the market, right? Competition in the market.
For sure.
You know, it's not like the days where, think about how much things shook up when like Apex hit the scene, right? With copy trading, right? And they came in with these, like, I swear I've seen like up to 95% off of an eval for the first month before. Like this really, really deep discounting. And like, you're going to win business over price sometimes. But the way I look at it, like in my ventures outside of trading, is that if you earn a client or a customer on pricing, you're going to lose the client or customer on pricing. Because just somebody's got to undercut you one time and that's it. It's toast. Right? You got to build value around other things, right? And like Topstep's always had the upper hand because they've always had a very, very robust platform. And just when you thought it couldn't get better, they added things like Topstep TV and this and that. So with the new offering, which you kind of put me on the last episode, you asked me about straight to funded options. I'm not a content creator in the trading space, right? And, I'm just coming up on my 1 year anniversary of like having my Discord.
It's crazy.
That's not my business model, right?
Right.
We did it similarly like how Topstep used Project X as a case study to create Topstep X. We use this Discord as a case study as like, how many people could I take from zero to hero? How many people could I get from either having taken a shot at like their own account or an eval in the past, or have never heard about trading until maybe seeing our last video, right? Our first episode.
100%.
And said, okay, let me jump in this Discord and see what's up and then what comes of it. I was like, can we do like a group, $5 million payout as a collective if there's X amount of people taking Y amount of payout in one shot, right?
For sure.
And that's what my Discord's built around, is like taking somebody from eval to then simulated funded XFA, whatever you have it called, and then called up to live.
Sure.
And then it doesn't end there. It's then how do we get to that first payout?
I love that.
And we're going to say first payout because you know how I feel about payout schedules.
100%. Dude, wait till we get into this. We're going to talk a lot about payouts because it's important. We're going to talk a lot about path to live with some of these prop firms. That's a very hot topic, right? Yeah. One of the things people will say is some of these firms are not clear in their path to live. But before we get down that rabbit hole, straight to funded is something you brought up.
Yep.
Both of us have tried Tradeify. There's a lot of firms in the CFD space that I've seen that have instant funding. This idea is not new, right? But Tradeify really blew it up. I remember on stream when Patak said they'll never do straight to funded. What's your opinion on that? Why would Topstep say that?
For one, I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
Nah.
Dude, if they come out with a straight to funded and he calls it here on the podcast, that's going to be crazy.
You heard it here first, right?
But then can we clip in where Michael said they would never do that too?
That would be
Put
great.
it together.
That would be great. We
Right.
do Joe Rogan style. Like, pull that up.
Pull it up, Jamie.
Pull that up when MP said. Because the thing is, I don't know how on the radar you are right now with a lot of the changes that Topstep has been doing as of late. I say let's just date back just a few short weeks to when live traders can't copy trade anymore. That was a big deal. When I took a lot of heat when I came on and said, I don't believe in, and I'm not talking about on your stream. I'm talking about like on other streams that I've been on. Like, I don't think people should be copy trading. Copy trading is great for people who can exploit it
for sure
for what it is there. But what happened? Now how many weeks since that first episode, and I used that word exploit, and now you have people getting thrown in, to banishment and jail and
sim
timeout.
Farming is now a firm, right? Brett says that. A lot of these guys say that term, sim farming. So yeah, you're exactly right.
So, when Topstep made the move from 3 to 5, I was really upset. I really was. And I voiced my concerns with people over there. And I'm just like, I think we're going in the wrong direction. I don't think we should be going from 3 to 5. I think we should be going from 3 back down to 1 and start looking for ways to really help the really good traders and the disciplined traders, the ones that have strategies that are working in these markets. How do we get them to scale up? Rolling in simulated funds to the tune of 5x was not the way.
Well, now they cut that.
Right?
Gone.
Well, and they did. But they wouldn't have had to cut it if they never went down that route. And of course, we can say it all in hindsight, but I can stand here confidently and say, this is the wrong move. Instead of going from 3 to 5, because I thought three was fine. 3 wasn't overkill. It allowed the opportunity for people who could exploit and copy trade well.
Make a little extra cash.
Make a little bit of extra cash, right? And get them that scale up. But 5, way too much, right? You start talking to the tune of 20 at Apex, that's a whole nother, garbage animal, right? But the thing that I said they needed to do was they needed to start exploring a 250K and a 500K option. Not necessarily both, but just one. Like, we're going to go ahead and just go up to a $250,000 or go up to a $500,000.
Right.
And give the Isaac Riveras, the Nick for a tick, the Dakotas, a shot of really showing what they can do with bigger risk and bigger margins, right? And make that the thing instead. But what did a lot of the bigger players do? Because I did it myself. I was one of the last to take a payout on copy trading. I'm like, okay, if everybody's obsessing over this leaderboard and showing, oh, I made $15,000 today, and it was really, which is still a great day, $3,000 times 5. You didn't make 15K. It's like 5 of you made 3K. Is what it is. And it's just a really dangerous like smoke and mirrors game with the copy trading. So I'm like, this would be a really, really good opportunity to show like who are the people that can manage big size and trade really well. Let's make a contest out of it too, right? Where you put your top 5 people on the leaderboard and say, okay, you're all going to get a 250K combine. Who busts? Who passes? And from those who pass, who grew the account to the biggest balance? Make like a really fun, and that's how you launch it and pitch it to the masses. But they went the copy trading route. They're making a lot of changes now that they have to kind of basically backpedal. And, there's nothing wrong with building the plane in the air. Like, MP says, you know what I mean? Like that, you got to adapt on the fly, right? And make changes and evolve along the way. But there's just some things that, shouldn't have been implemented to begin with. And, things are really getting ugly. And that's part of the thing. They kind of open themselves up to being attacked by some of these internet trolls.
For sure.
Talking about some of their traders, myself included, some of their leadership, some of their tradertainment personalities.
Bro, 100%.
It's getting real nasty out
How
there.
Does that
the
end
stuff
for
I'm
them?
seeing on X is insane.
It's
cross-platform.
Some of it's over the top for sure. How does it end? Pull that microphone close too. I want to make sure we get good audio. How does it end? Now, 'cause from my perspective is there's a hole, right? You have the big dogs really changing things. You have the big dogs competing more than ever. Now is the time usually someone steps on the scene and is a disruptor. Tradeify kind of did that with the straight to funded. So your bet is that Topstep may eventually dabble in that area. What do you think now, Topstep not allowing you to roll over the profit as much from your XFAs, is that to limit their potential in paying traders out? Or do you think it's to protect what? If you're tired of wasting money and time on sim funding challenges, Top One Trader has an offer for you. They now have instant funding accounts, which means you can start trading towards a payout today with no challenge and no waiting. It's an incredible offer. As long as you follow the consistency rule, you can be eligible for a payout in your first week of trading, if you take advantage of some of the unique offers that Top One has, like their instant payout add-on. Now, if you go back to episode 147, I interview a guy named Derek. He made over $100,000 with Top One last year. He shares his experience with Top One as a firm in detail in that podcast episode. So definitely check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about what traders are saying having traded with Top One. Their customer support we know is top notch. We know that they are paying people out with no issues. So to me, them getting in the instant funded game was a no-brainer. So check it out. Thank you to Top One. Happy trading. If you're serious about taking your trading to the next level in 2025, you need to be tracking your trades the right way. Most traders don't struggle because of lack of skill. It's because they lack data-based insights on their own performance. And that's where TradeZella comes in. You're going to be able to see strengths and weaknesses, see what's working well for you, see what you're not doing well. And then you're going to be able to double down on what's actually working by identifying your most profitable setups. You're going to be able to review and detail each trade with precision. And that's going to help you identify new patterns and make more money. I've been using TradeZella for the last 3 years. Everybody that we send to them absolutely loves them. So use the code ASFX10 for 10% off your monthly, or the better deal, use the code ASFX20 to save 20% on your yearly membership. Good luck and happy trading. Every trader is searching for an edge, but edge is not found, it's built. With Edgeful, we don't trade blindly. We trade with precision, we trade with confidence, and with data. We use Edgeful every single day on ASFX TV. The reports are constantly evolving, and the stats are coming in and out of play every single week. That's why having Edgeful is a must in my daily trading tool belt. One of my favorite reports is the classic gap fill report. This report is actually what inspired the entire company. Andre, the CEO founder, he actually talks about that on a podcast episode when I had him on the show a few weeks ago. If you don't know what the gap fill is, that's okay. Edgeful actually explains that to you as well. So if you're looking for an edge and you want to stop guessing, maybe you want to actually start executing some winning trades, give Edgeful a shot. There's a link down below for you to check them out. Sign up. You won't regret it.
Well, because the thing is, if you roll in simulated funds,
right, you have a bigger balance, correct?
You have a bigger balance.
Right.
You're in a live account.
Right.
You start losing that from day one. That's fake money that rolled in. That's real money that they're
going
losing.
out. Right. So it can hurt.
So they have to have a control. I remember originally, you could only make $15,000 or $20,000 in an XFA, and if you hit that, you automatically. I think that's got pushed out to $50K now.
It's got pushed out. Right. Well, I think a lot of firms are going that direction. I know there's a firm that's going to be coming out 3 payouts, and they're taking you to live.
I think MP just brought that up recently, that they're having a clearer route to being called up to live. And I already don't like it because what is it centered around? Quantity of payout, number of payout.
Nothing else.
Nothing else,
Interesting.
really. And for me, I don't believe in taking a single payout out of an XFA ever. There's only two options. If you want to use the route that like Michael Patak says, you gotta pay yourself. You gotta take a payout so you know it's real, right? Like it's real money. When you see that money, you'll treat it a little bit differently. Okay, fine. Take enough to cover your combine fee, your reset fee, and your activation fee, right? If that was like $350, round up, take a $500 payout, go to dinner with your guy or your girl or your mom or your best friend or by yourself.
Whatever.
Right? Take a tiny, I'm talking about $500. Get your activation fee back, get your original eval fee back.
Okay.
If you had a reset or two, throw that in there, right? But $500 is all you should take. After that, don't take out another payout until you get called up to live, because that's going to be your cushion when you're in the big leagues.
Now.
And so now if they're saying 3 payouts, 4 payouts, 5 payouts is the number, and you automatically get called up to live, it's like self-destruction, right?
Sure.
You're putting them in there naturally, because here's the thing. Okay, fine. If you want to force payouts, fine. 500 times 5. That's not a large number, right? But how many people are just going to take a $500 payout? They're going to go bigger. And that's the thing that keeps a lot of people from succeeding in the live environment or even in their XFAs.
Swinging too hard?
No, not at all. It's not having enough of a cushion. It's as simple as that.
So they didn't roll into the live account with enough buffer. It's almost set up for them to fail. And when you think about it, the risk for a prop firm, if you're a copy trader with 5 funded accounts with any firm, we can stop saying Topstep's name, we could say any firm.
Anyone.
If you're a copy trader, you're more of a threat to them when you're trading sim funds than real funds. Your drawdown is capped when you're trading live capital. They give you $5,000, you lose $5,000.
Who's the biggest threat? The top 25.
For sure. You run up a big payout with the XFAs, you just made real money out of sim money. Now, one thing that was interesting, do you know Lance Breitstein?
Mm-mm.
So he's a famous stock trader from SMB Capital and stuff like that.
I know SMB.
Yeah, so he's worked with them. He works with a firm called Trillium and stuff. He's a well-known scalper stock trader. Okay. He had a call with Patak, and they talked about the prop firm industry, and it made Lance change his mind. Lance put out this whole video where he was like, I'm not promoting Topstep, but I am changing my mind about the prop space. It can be done the right way. We have a mutual friend who's a affiliate manager for a prop firm. And he was like, it's so hard to sell this prop firm idea to people because there's so many scams. In fact, one of the companies that people call scams hit me up today when he wants to come on the podcast. So we'll see if I can make that happen.
That'd be good.
How do you talk to people about prop trading and convince them that it is legit when you're talking about a situation that you're taking sim money into real money? Do you explain the path to live? Do you explain the potential if you can prove yourself? What's that conversation of like, prop firms are a scam? They're going to either rug pull you or they'll never pay you out.
Prop firms are the way to go, but whether or not prop firm is a scam or not, that really depends on who's the subject of the conversation.
Sure.
Right? If we're talking about, which even TradeZella is new. I mean, they really just launched at the tail end of the summer in 2024. So they're relatively new, right? At this point, I had solvency concerns with Apex going back probably this time last year. I'm pretty sure I confidently said Apex won't be around until by the end of 2024. Here we are now getting towards the end of the first quarter of 2025, and they're obviously still here. There's still lots of concerns that I personally have.
They made rule changes, though.
They had to, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because this time last year, I remember another prop firm talking about all the changes that they're making over there and all the backpedaling.
And what happened?
And now they're the ones. And it's like, be careful pointing the finger because you don't know where you're at tomorrow,
Facts, bro.
Right? There's some of the bigger players, like MP knows how to run a business.
Right.
He does. Topstep's been around for a long time. They're not going anywhere. Like even really big issues with copy trading, simulated profits being paid out and, losing affiliates, losing traders. It's not going to hurt them.
Sure.
It's not, right?
Sure.
So it depends who you're talking about. Like, I won't even look in the direction.
So you tell people, look at who's running the company.
Of course, you want to
Good advice.
It's like if you're going to go put your money in a bank, what bank are you going to go and put it at? I don't even use the Wells Fargos and the Banks of Americas. I use brokerages and institutions. I bank with Fidelity. I bank with Schwab.
Right.
Like, I don't have a Truist bank account, and that they're, FDIC insured and the biggest banks, right? Like, you got to take the same, you don't want some small mom and pop prop shop to basically hold your trading capital, or you be reliant on receiving your payments from them, especially if it's the money that you use to pay your bills. But
for sure,
the prop space for many people is the only opportunity.
For sure,
for many people, it's your only chance at ever trading some sort of security, right? Whether it's an energy, whether it's a metal, whether it's an index, an actual equity annuity. So they're good. You just got to pick the one that seems the most stable, the most solvent, and the one that their limitations and restrictions, their rules and their parameters vibes best with whatever your strategy is. And strategy, not just your trading strategy, but your risk management strategy as well as your capital management strategy.
Well, let's get into risk management, buddy.
Let's do it.
Some of the specific questions we had from the guests were, you talked about eliminating risk as soon as possible, locking stops quickly. Has your approach to that changed in any way?
Not at all.
And maybe could you speak? Okay, so it hasn't changed.
No.
Okay. When you think about eliminating risk, how do you balance the potential of a bigger move if you're to get maybe tapped out of that trade before it's invalid, but before that big move happens? So what do you see that as?
So this applies to any trade, right? But more specifically with my strategy, right? We've done enough back testing and obviously forward testing to know when a setup typically fails, right? So if I get stopped out on a trade, that means it's going to probably go significantly further than where my stop is because of how specific my entries are.
Got it.
Right? But if we're taking my strategy out of the equation, you're just looking at an entry. How many times have you seen a nasty unrealized P&L where you're just like, this is sick, for it to turn into a loser?
Many times. Always.
How many people have you seen have been up $4,000 on a position or $4,000 in a day and then end up hitting their daily loss limit the same day, shortly thereafter, right? So what I've seen far too often in my trading is, you're at a certain point, maybe you're really close to your target, maybe you pushed your target out because you were going to hit your target, but you're not thinking about the stop. Like everybody's quick to move their target in to take money or their target out to make more,
but not to
make more. It's not yours until you're liquidated, right?
For
Until you close out that position, you haven't made anything.
Yeah.
And it's that decision, that ability to decide, okay, see money, take money. I'm going to lock some of this in, right? Without giving the trade too much room, right, to breathe and give a lot of money back. You got to give it enough room to go ahead and like breathe and play out.
But does it change in market cycles? Do you find yourself sometimes, because you spoke last time, you're not super big on locking the stop. You start taking size off the trade, correct?
No, I usually am all in with one size, all out with one size. So I don't scale in or out of positions. So I trade small, 2 to 3 contracts on average.
Right. So are you locking the stop?
So what I'm doing is, and so for some people that are not trading on like Project X, Topstep X, or whatever, they're on a platform that doesn't have automatic trailing built in.
Yeah.
Like with Tradeovate, you can set it so that as soon as you hit a certain amount of ticks in profit,
right,
it moves your stop a certain amount of ticks, right? So it's just locking in that 4.5, and that's the only required stop, right? It's just that 4.5 point stop with 2 contracts. That's $450. That's a decent day, especially if that happened in 10 to 30 minutes. That's a great day. The way that I look at it is that if you get stopped out at 4.5, then there's not really enough momentum in that trade in the direction that you're targeting.
Time to get out anyway.
Exactly.
Right. What time of day is that working best?
So
After open?
I don't look at anything before the opening bell.
Okay.
And I try.
What are you doing in the morning? Cappuccino?
I try to, yeah. So I let the dog out, right?
You ain't got time for all that.
Make my coffee, walk around the property.
You got to do your skincare routine.
I actually don't have I wash my face with a Lush product.
Dude, lies. They're going to look at
people
your skin.
get on me all the time.
They're going to be like,
have a routine. Like,
bro, it's that south of the border skin. That's what that is, brother. Okay, so
that Latin skin. So 9:30 till when? So 9:30 opening bell, right? We take a look at that opening range. We take a look at where cumulative delta goes right at the start, okay? The direction that the market ran in initially at that open. I usually try to leave at least 15 minutes digestion period. So opening bell, I let 15 minutes for some of the losers that were, with positions going into the open, people who weren't paying attention to stuff on the economic releases calendar. And then a lot of people don't know this. A lot of algos at certain institutions get turned on at certain times.
Correct.
Right? Or they'll get to, all right, we're going to operate at 25% through 9:45. Then we're going to up it to 75%, at 9:50, and then at 10 a.m. Eastern, that's when all the we're firing.
They have algos that turn on at 3:50 for MOC. There's a million
just for that,
things.
exactly.
Right. Okay.
So I don't like to get caught
in that morning
in between algos, kind of just attacking one another.
So you're not trading till 9:45. That's kind of how I am. And this is why this seminar is going to be so good. Not to plug it, but because we're all very similar. Where people are going to come thinking we're all about the action in the open. We normally, I think a lot of the speakers at the event make our money after 9:45. Today I made my money after 9:45.
Same.
Yeah. So 9:45 till when? Listeners are thinking, okay, Isaac, when are we stopping? Like, when does the day shut off for you?
So if I have not gotten a limit order filled, because I never fill at market, ever. Never fill at market. I let the market come to me. If I don't get a fill by 11:45 Eastern, I exit all, 3 times, just like if you're clearing a firearm, because you don't want any floating orders out
Of course.
there that fill.
I had that
next thing you
yesterday.
know,
I
at
saw it up there. I was
350.
like, oh God, go get that. Close that. Yeah.
And a lot of times, man, especially the last few days, the markets have been ranging quite a bit. It's really easy to like not see where you had, a limit order where the initial balance high is when we just had a 65-point flush to the downside. You can't even see if you got anything up there. So always, then you got an NVIDIA earning or something come out. And next thing you know, you got a fill.
Yeah.
And you wake up to, max loss or daily loss
sure.
or just
So what
or
time-
a beautiful situation, right? Where
If
you're
you're
up
lucky.
$6,000.
If you're lucky, and then it
you're lucky.
reinforces the bad behavior.
Yes.
What time are you like off the desk?
So 11:45.
Done.
If I don't have any positions filled by then, I exit all 3 times
And that's
shut down. I
So
don't
noon.
Look,
You're done.
don't
at
look at
noon.
the charts again. The only time I stay in the markets beyond 12, sometimes as far as 1:30,
Yeah.
I'm nursing a position that's
Sure.
on.
Okay. Are you
Right.
ever,
If I got a winner running, right, or has something that's got me in the red, but it hasn't hit my stop, right?
Yeah.
I'll just kind of nurse that trade, and then once that closes out, then I'll be done. But I try to get my work done before 11:30. So
well,
I can
you're
get
also
onto the
busy with other
things.
stuff, right?
Exactly.
These people listening are going to be like, but Isaac, have you ever been tempted to break your rule and trade in the afternoon or
course.
trade FOMC?
Of course.
Okay, so you're human. You've been
Of
tempted,
course,
but how do you
yeah.
not? How what would be advice to
I
the
learned my
listener?
lessons.
You burned.
Yeah.
Been burned. Don't want to get burned anymore.
I trade pretty decent between like 1 and 3 as well. Definitely not during power hour. I have no business wanting to be in that last 15 minutes of the session, especially the last 5 minutes of the session.
Yeah.
And some people have strategies that they claim, and I guess some that can be proven as really good strategies for those moments as well. My entire system was basically designed around this prime time. And, even 9:45, I said that's the earliest, right? We had the Chicago PMI number come out today. That's a 9:45 number.
So it's
right?
good.
But
Wait.
sometimes you got a 10 o'clock number.
Sure.
Or 10. I'll wait for that stuff. Sometimes I won't put a position on until the initial balance is set.
And is that because that's what your mentor taught you?
That's what we designed and developed together, right?
Right.
So there was like these base, like non-negotiable things
We're
that
not
like he
trading
taught
this.
me,
We're not doing that.
coached me, and still. But then kind of developing the strategy over the years, we had to. That one's high quality.
Dude, this is so good.
That's gonna take a minute before that drops
I mean,
off.
being someone that smoked the Padron all the time, and I never smoked Connecticut rolled, like wrapped these light.
There's only 3 Connecticut's I smoke, and this is one of them.
La Aurora.
La Aurora. This is the Sapphire from the Preferitos line.
Straight from
This is a Dominican cigar. This is a
right from the Dominican.
This is a great cigar.
right off the boat.
So
thank you for
you'll know when it's ready to drop off. But where were we at?
I just don't want to spill it on my fine shirt
I
here.
feel
You know,
that.
I got dressed up for you today.
I feel that.
No, we were talking about
developing the strategy.
developing the strategy
There
with
was
your
things
mentor.
we learned
the
over
times.
time, and we really got it dialed in at this point.
So so far today, we've talked about that, talked about a little bit of risk management, got a little more clarity there because, one of the questions people said was like the taking the risk off the table is something people struggle with. They see, like you said, the potential to make more and they don't take gains. What would you say to the person that maybe has okay, I don't know if I want to go this deep, but let's just say subconsciously, they are programmed to think that scalping is bad.
And I think scalping is bad.
But scalping in the sense, like maybe let's define the word. Scalping to me is like trading for a minute to an hour, not within a minute.
Okay, yeah. So for me, scalping is really anything less than 15 minutes.
Right. So I'm
like
saying,
if you, because again, this is big tick energy, right? So we're going for big moves, and this is not the NQ we're talking about. We're talking about the S&P, right? The ES. So, to get 20, 30, 40 points in the S&P, that's not usually something that's happening in 10 minutes. It can,
Sure.
and it has.
Sure.
But these are typically longer trades, right? We're looking for the right ATR to make sure we have the right target expectancy,
Yeah.
right? For pointage or tickage.
Sure.
Right? And if it's more than 10, right, then we'll get in. And the only way that you're getting out of that trade really fast is if you got to your trailing trigger fast enough where you can trail and you get zapped out, or it just runs against you from the very beginning, right? So these are things that are usually more than 10 to 15 minutes at a time. For
So
me,
what do you consider that? Day trading?
it's just day trading.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
So in
these,
my head, though, to
these
me,
like
that's like
30-minute to 3-hour trades, that's day trading.
See, like to me,
right?
I get that. And like if I'm going to take a trade and run it for 3 hours, it becomes a day trade. But it started as a scalp where like I'm most out of that trade within the first hour for the most part, right? I think people are programmed to not think scalping is profitable. I think
It
people,
definitely can be.
you know what I mean? So you say it can be. I know it can be. What would you say to the listener that's not convinced? They're like, dude, these guys smoking cigars, acting like they know what they're doing, scalpers, dirty day traders. How do you break that mindset? Because my question is, the subconscious belief that scalping or day trading is not profitable holds people back. You being someone, like you mentioned, taking people from A to Z in your Discord, you must encounter that all the time. I do. So
I always tell people, don't knock it until you try it.
It's good advice.
Give it a shot. If it doesn't,
It's good advice.
don't rebuild. Get out of the Discord. Keep doing whatever it was that you were doing before you got here, right? But most people stay on.
Yeah.
A lot of people leave and then come back, right? Because of financial things.
Sure.
Sometimes, I had someone recently was like traveling all through Hong Kong and all this other stuff, so they were just away.
Dude, could you imagine living over there and trading those hours? That would suck.
That's the only thing that keeps me from doing it. It's like Thailand, Hong Kong, even like New Zealand, Australia. It's like it's the hours that kills me. So that's why I try to stick through like Portugal, Spain.
Bro, I'm sorry. I do not see you with
Texas.
I can't see you with an Asian chick, bro. I'm sorry, bro. You can't you stay away from Thailand.
I'm diverse. I'm diverse. Well,
I'm diverse. We're
Thailand's
DEI here, everybody. DEI with Isaac.
Food and entertainment. I mean, food and entertainment's enough. And Cuban cigars aren't banned in Asia.
You're fucking right, bro.
So there's always that. But I tell people, get in. Right, because you're clearly looking for something because whatever you found up until this point or whatever you're doing at this point
ain't working.
It's not working or it's not working to the extent that you want it to.
For sure.
Right? I was really talking with my group recently about like strategy hoppers, right? And instrument hoppers and like not giving it enough time to actually play out. You have to actually like hoard data.
Yeah.
You have to like test things back and then you got to test things forward.
You can't be changing every day.
You can't.
Right.
And you got people that are on, Market Clubhouse this, and then Market Stalker this, and then BTE this, and then ICC that, and then WTF this.
CIA.
And then, like, yeah.
You're not in the FBI Discord?
I'm not in the FBI anymore. I gave that one up a while ago. It's just like, you got to give something enough time for it to be meaningful data where then you can make changes and adjustments up to that point.
I agree with that.
But here's what I would say, right? What's the thing people fear the most when they're in a trade?
Losing.
Losing what?
Money,
right? Not even losing the trade. That's what it should be. You need to switch your mindset to like, I just want winning trades. I want $1,000.
Love that.
I want $2,500.
Write that down.
I want $500. It's big tick energy, right? We're here to collect ticks. Hey, yo. We're here to collect ticks, right? Rack points.
Right.
That's it. So you said it. The biggest fear in a trade is what?
Losing money.
So what's the first thing you should do if the opportunity presents itself?
Make money.
Eliminate the potential to lose money.
And that, yes. Take the risk off the table.
It's the same thing though. If you take the risk off at break even, you don't make money. But if you take the risk off at +4, +2, even +1.
Yeah.
Right? But then we're talking little tick energy at that point. If you're
Definitely.
you got to lock in close to half a point. And we've learned that in testing that when you get to 6.5 points, then usually there's going to be enough momentum to see it at 10 points or greater in your favor, or it's going to run out of steam and roll back. So on that rollback, lock in a gain.
How many entries like this are you getting a day?
Anywhere from 1 to 5.
I was going to say, this is going to...
In the morning session.
This won't present, 20 times in a day, but it will present more than once, it sounds like.
There's very, very, very few days where an opportunity doesn't present itself.
Is it a reversion strategy or a trending strategy? How do you describe it? It's both.
So
okay, so you can play both.
Yeah. So you have your level 1 trades are always trend following, right? Because those are deviating away from means.
Okay.
Based on means on other time frames, right? So we execute on a certain time frame, right? But we're observing things across a few other time frames and also chart types. So I look at Renko, I look at 1,000 tick, and then we look at 1 minute all the way up to 1 hour. So you're locking in a decent enough where you're trading in the direction of the trend. If it rolls back and locks you out at 4.5, then that means there's probably a reversal in play.
And what will delta look like in that situation?
So it depends. We're paying attention to delta as well, because say if we're taking a long trade, right? If we're looking to go long on a level 1 trigger,
okay,
right? So is cumulative delta positive right now?
From the 9:30 open. You're
from the 9:30 open. Is cumulative delta positive?
Okay.
And now we're looking at it at this point in time. So then how does that relate to where cumulative delta was X amount of minutes
Is
ago?
it rising or falling?
Correct. Has it grown more positive or less positive? Was it negative? Was it negative and now it's positive?
Will you avoid a long trade in a negative delta even if it's rising?
No.
You'll take a long trade in a negative delta.
Yeah. One of the best things too is when I start seeing cumulative delta grow more negative but not move lower.
Divergence is forming.
Then you've already seen that these
Now
sellers have either lost a lot of power,
right,
or the bulls are applying a lot of pressure.
Right, and you'll get divergence, and then you can
things.
find reversals. Yeah. We have a couple of guys. So I'm interviewing a guy. It'll probably be out the week after our interview. This dude, Scott Pulsini, from the Bookmap Discord. He does live streams for Bookmap every day. He's a Bookmap trader. I'm going to get his whole story, learn about him. Funniest story about that. He's like, we're pretty sure he might be related to someone in my mentorship right now.
That's insane.
Small world.
Really small world.
But he uses this thing on Bookmap, not just Delta. He uses iceberg orders, where they're looking for big blocks of orders that want to be filled.
But you can only see that on Bookmap.
Only can see it on Bookmap.
A lot of people, unfortunately, that are probably watching this right now don't even know what Bookmap is.
How long you been using it?
I don't use it very often.
I was going to say, I don't think we talked about it in the last conversation.
I learned about Peter Davies from Jigsaw Trading. I don't know if you're familiar with
Of course.
Peter. Okay.
Yeah.
A while back, obviously by way of like the old school, like maybe not Squawk Radio, but some of the old YouTube segments that Topstep used to have way before Topstep TV was a thing. And started kind of incorporating it as well. I'm also one of those people that like, let's just say you're some sort of like, vigilante like Batman or something, right? And you got too many things in your belt. And now you encounter this situation and you don't know what to grab for, right? So I like to just have, like 1 gun, 2 gun, and then maybe like a rifle on my back.
Simple.
But when you got too many things, right? You got this grenade.
Yeah, you're weighed down. You're not lean. You can't.
First off that, right? You're slowed down just from that
Gotta cut
weight.
the fat.
That weight of like, man, I got to look at, all right, where's VWAP at right now? What's cumulative delta at right now? Where are we relative to the initial balance range? Where are we next compared to the, value area or point of control for market profile? And then by the time you've decided on it, you might have missed a move.
Absolutely. So you got to be careful. I love Bookmap.
I do too.
I really do. I'm big on Bookmap. We'll do a lot of Bookmap stuff at the seminar. Naked point of control. I'm a naked point of control guy. I like the previous day point of control.
People like intraday developing as well too.
Okay, I don't know nothing about that. I only like naked because
And my whole who doesn't, right? Even with my wings. I like people to learn how to trade with just candles, right?
Okay.
Open, high, low, close bars is what I use.
Yeah,
I don't use candlesticks.
Right.
So using my bars, right? So just looking at bars and the DOM.
Right.
Throw some moving averages on each of those charts, and that's it, right? Then obviously you have a proprietary indicator as well. But I try to teach without it first, right? And then incorporating it, and then incorporating that second level of trade. So like you were asking about, is this mean reversion? Is it trend following? So the level 1 trade is always trend following.
Okay.
Right? Now your level 2 trades, which are mean reversion, but think about this, right? If this is a mean here, this is the mean here. The microphone's the mean, right? If where price is up here, right, and the mean's down here, and the overall trend's long, then that's a mean reversion play that is not with the trend, right? But if price is down here and the mean's here, even though this is mean reversion, this one's trend following.
I'm not going to look at your crotch, bro.
So, I know, right? Like if it's really,
you look at this
if
right
it's
here.
way down here.
Right.
So like you can have a mean reversion trade that is trending or counter trend. Still not falling off.
That's crazy.
You got to be patient with it.
So do you find yourself taking the reversion trades more? Because you like, because I was going to say, to your personality, I feel like the reversion trades are more your thing.
Absolutely.
I see big run-ups, and then I know you're selling something back lower towards a VWAP or something like that, where I'm waiting for a pullback, you're short already.
Mm-hmm.
What do you tell new traders as far as like, okay, if you're going to come in, I get what you're saying, keep it slim, don't get too inundated with Bookmap, don't get too inundated with these things. But how do I stay learning, right? Like I don't want to overwhelm myself, but what is a good process for traders to try new things? I think you maybe touched on it by saying you don't want to change too often, but how do you take in new information? Think back to
you have to always be. You always have to be learning more, right? You're only as competitive as you are, right? Like, so the more you do to make yourself better, right? In understanding, in process, you always have to be constantly looking for ways to improve how solid you are up here, how solid you are with this, right? Your ability to read things in real time. I think my ability to read data in real time and not just understand what's happening, but be able to execute or make decisions based on what's happening now. Because everybody's always a great trader in hindsight, right? Yeah. Like once the chart's there, you could say anything that you could say everything about it.
Of course.
And be right because it's there in front of you, right? But when you're trying to make a decision on, okay, where is this going to go? Or where do I really think this is going to go? Based on this information, that takes a lot of time, right? So being able to read charts historically, but then analyze data in real time, and then finding ways that price starts aligning with certain setups, right? Or signals that you develop. But people come into my Discord, and at the very least, they learn about my level 1 trade. That's completely free, right? You can come into my Discord, not subscribe to premium, and you get my level 1 trading guide for free. Because I feel like everybody should know this setup.
Should they do that before they come to the seminar? Like the people that are listening to this, what are you going to teach at the seminar?
Whether the seminar has already happened by the time someone's watching this video, or this is in the weeks coming up to it, absolutely.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you? We're going to be having a ton of announcements that are going to be dropping in there.
Are you going to do like a PowerPoint? Are you going to lecture on the level 1 trade more than the reversion trade? Is that an easier trade for a new person to pick up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the reversion,
if you can't figure that out, then you're never going to be able to get the reversion trade.
Okay.
So it's like that, and that's why they're called level 1 trades. So then the point of quantitative extreme, right? Mean reversion trades off of those points, right? Because you have an extreme that is above the average, and you have an extreme that's below the average.
Okay.
So executing in the opposite direction, right? Reverting back to the mean at these points is your level 2 trade. And then beyond the point of quantitative extreme, you have overextension. That's where your level 3 or level 4 trades,
which becomes what, like an ultra reversion?
Basically, it's a double down reversion. That means that the market was willing to get out of balance, but maybe wasn't willing to get overextended. And that could, of course, be like out of balance or overextended could be to the downside or the upside.
Absolutely. And sometimes
right?
it could,
but a lot of people confuse being overextended with overbought or oversold, and they're different. So you can be overbought or oversold without being overextended, and vice versa.
How do you quantify overextended?
It's played out. It's played out on the chart, obviously, because the indicator draws it out. Right? You could look at something.
And this is the proprietary indicator you're talking about.
One way that you could look at whether or not something's overbought or oversold is looking at RSI.
For sure. 70, 30, 80, 20,
relative
whatever.
Strength Index, right? So you could be, again, looking at clear as day on a chart, prices at the upper point of overextension, but RSI doesn't necessarily say that it's overbought or oversold. And what happens is people are waiting for it to be overbought in order to sell. Well, what if it never becomes overbought?
Right.
So why didn't it? We got to the point of overextension. The market was not willing to extend any further before reverting back to the mean.
For people that are not in the Discord, can you give any information? What else does that indicator talk about? Is that indicator based on delta? Like, what is that indicator basing?
A certain percentage beyond the mean, right? So a few standard
and the
deviations.
mean is quantified as a VWAP?
No, so the mean is a simple moving average.
Oh, okay.
It's just an SMA over a certain period of time.
Got it.
Over a certain time frame.
Got it.
Right, and then there's certain deviations. They're different. It's not the same amount to the upside than it is to the downside. Why?
Oh.
What does the market love to do?
Up.
Take the stairs up. Take the elevator down.
Oh, so you're saying there's more potential for extreme moves to the downside that then revert back up. Interesting.
Always.
Right, the elevator down. Right. Okay.
Think about it too, right? If someone just throws you into a building, you don't know where you're at, right? But somebody throws you in a building and you're in a staircase, right? And it can go up or down. Which route are you probably going to first if you want to get out of there or go home? You got to go down, right? Like no one just gets thrown in a building. It's like, let me just work my way up to the roof, right? Like I want to get down to the ground floor, right? Or even the basement downstairs to get to the car park,
and
right?
That's the analogy to say the reversion is the stronger play.
The market's
from the
far more comfortable, especially when we start getting to where were we at just last week? We were pressing on ES all-time highs.
And it's just pushing.
Couldn't get to it. Couldn't get above it.
And then
now look, we've had over 100 points.
We're down to December prices.
But why? Way less data readily available to the upside. People that are doing Fibonacci, people that are doing measured moves, right? People that are looking at other points or percentages beyond all-time highs or beyond means. You have more data available to the downside. You're going to go where you're most comfortable and most familiar.
Absolutely.
Right? It's where you've been, not where you're going in these markets.
Why?
My shorts are my most successful trades. I got my ass kicked
on longs
over the last 3 or 4 trading sessions going long. And I'm surprised because I'm usually a shorter. So like I took a trade talking about scalping. I took a trade today, made $4,000 today. There you go. Made $4,000 today on a short. The short played out. It was quick. I was probably out of that position in less than 10 or 15 minutes.
Love that.
Love it when that happens, right? To be done by like 10, 15 in the morning to the tune of $4,000, like that's always a good thing. But here's the thing. If that was $450, I probably still would have been done for the day.
Yeah.
So there are certain measurements beyond the mean, above and below, where a market's considered in balance, right? So those are your quantitative extremes. If you get beyond this, you're beyond an extreme, right? And you're out of balance, but you're not overextended. You're not overbought. You're not oversold.
Okay, so we can be out of balance without being overextended.
It happened today for a little bit.
Interesting.
We were out of balance to the downside for a little bit. We rolled up, full mean reversion, went higher to that other point of quantitative extreme. I shorted there and rode that sucker down.
And then how does POC, point of control, play into this? Because I got a couple of guys that'll trade, like I was saying, the naked point of control. That hasn't been touched, right? So you have a naked point of control like 3 days ago above us at highs, 4 days ago at highs, still hasn't been touched.
It's too much of an intermediate time frame when you're looking at stuff that's really that high.
So you're going higher.
Yeah. So there, even when I put I put my levels daily on the stream. Usually sometime between 9:25 and 9:45, my levels will become available in the Discord. Some people are in the Discord not even to be in my stream trading with me.
They just want your levels.
They just want the levels.
Interesting.
Some people get too distracted by hearing my commentary, reading the questions from the people who are in the chat, asking things that's now throwing off their game. So some people just want the levels.
I get that.
When I'm making these levels, I have to be really careful as to, all right, am I looking at levels for the entire session, or am I looking for levels that I can really exploit in that first half, the morning?
How do you determine that?
You got to really start looking at where, because again, my levels are typically, what I do is I don't even look at my indicator until I've picked my level.
To see if it lines up. Haha, okay.
Yeah.
See, I tell people.
And it's money when you see your levels line up with at least one of them, you're like, let's go.
Similar, what I say on stream is if you think the market's going to do something and it doesn't do that, like if you come into the day with a bias, whatever it may be.
Just about to ash.
Whatever it may be, you come in with this bias. If it is not doing what you thought it would do, just stay flat.
Yeah.
But if you can get that type of a confirmation, oh, my levels are also the levels. Now we're kind of getting confident. This is now a day we need to maybe play.
Yeah.
Do you ever have no trade days? Like what's a no trade day?
Very seldomly, but again, if
is it based on lack of setup or because of a news event?
So usually it's just lack of setup.
Okay.
Sometimes a setup presented itself, but because news comes out in 3 minutes or in 20 minutes, I might say, let's just sit this out.
Yeah.
There'll be nothing more annoying than seeing this get to my trailing, trigger, for then all of a sudden it to go in the opposite direction and zap me out in 30 seconds. So I have a tendency to really wait until the big movers come out. If I do want to get into a position before something's coming out, then I just make sure that for myself, plus everyone on stream, even when I'm done trading, when I know something's coming out at 1 p.m. I'll send a notice to either at everyone or at premium subscribers.
Hey, pay attention.
And just say, hey, if you're in a position you already are trailed, you might want to consider trailing a little more to lock in some more. A number's coming out, right? You got to account for slippage,
for sure,
right? Or if you haven't moved your stop at all, then this might be an instance where you want to go ahead and do that because the number's coming out. So sometimes there's setups that are just either like the one I hate the most is when like a really juicy setup like happens at like 9:36 because it's not enough time for me.
Oh, bro.
Some people in my Discord, they'll just be like,
I take that trade
they'll be
sometimes.
like, all right, one and done for the day. Caught 10 points. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Dude,
I'm just like, damn, you took that long that I didn't take because it was too early.
The one day I took a long, I think it was yesterday, before the opening range was set, I got smoked. I try to wait, but sometimes I get enough things that are like deltas rise and this and that. I get sucked in that first 15 minutes and I want the momentum and sometimes it burns me.
No risk, no reward.
Fuck
right?
yeah,
if you
bro.
know a news event's coming out or if it is outside of one of your preferences, right? Because you have rules and then you have preferences. Just like in these evals and these combines, you have rules and then you have objectives, right? And they're different. With objectives, right, or preferences, you get a little bit more wiggle room on what you can do.
For sure.
Maybe one of the things that I do is if that was going to be normally a 3 contract or a 4 contract trade, I'll scale that down to 2 since there is another layer of risk at play now.
That makes
right?
sense.
There's some sort of number or economic release now that can impact this outcome.
Yeah.
So we're going to reduce some of that risk by sizing down, right? Or maybe I'm going to trail sooner, right? Or maybe I'm going to have a tighter target because of that. But you were like asking about point of control, right? If I'm in a trade now, I'm looking at, okay, where is VWAP? Where is point of control? Just so I know if maybe one of those things, not necessarily to target them, but see if one of them is going to interfere with a target that I have. Then you make adjustments to targets, right? If I'm looking at a target that's 3 points, if I'm short and I'm above point of control, right? But I'm in the value area from yesterday's session or the previous session, and I have like a 15-point target, but then I see that in 13 points there's point of control, I might just move that up to now a 12-point target.
100%.
Right? I know I was going for 15. We got POC at 13. I'd hate to get so close. Let's just go ahead and stay in front of that.
Same thing I'll do with Bookmap. I'll see on the Bookmap, you can see on the COB orders. In there, you can see how much of each block is controlled by one algo. Sometimes big algos will put blocks of orders on. I won't stay in, like my winning trade today, I won't stay in the trade through, it was at 5,900. It was long to 5,900 today. I won't stay through to see, because there was a shit ton of orders, 59.05, 59.10, 50, but it was.
And that was early on. And what happened? We ended up, you were short, you said?
No, I was long. I was long. But what I'm saying is trading into it. But instead of waiting for it to fill, because I could see that it may be pulled because it was like one big algo, I took profit at the 5,900 and it fell away from it. It did end up going back up.
Later on, yeah.
Later on, about an hour later.
Beyond 59.10, I think.
Old Austin would have locked his stop loss and not taken any money off the table and would have been burned and got nothing out of it. So to our previous point, which I think is a good one to take notes on through this whole podcast, is you got to take profits. You don't have to catch the entire move. I think this is, I talked to a guy, Ike, you'll meet him in the Discord. He was saying, you could be a good trader, but that doesn't mean you're going to get payouts.
Yeah.
You could be working in you could be a great trader working a prop account and drawdown for 3 months. Is that really going to get you paid out? No. So you have to be focused on payouts. So here's an important question. Your most important tips for payouts. Give me 3. Go.
Don't take as many as you want to. That's number one, right? Again, with a lot of these companies right now that are either making payouts a requirement to get called up to live, or some of them are using the payout and the equity threshold as the moment when they actually start observing you as a trader, right? So we're not going to use any prop firm name, but we're just going to say like Bootcamp prop, right? Bootcamp prop, they're going to do either 1 or 2 or a combination of, okay, once they've hit a $6,000 profit threshold, they get on our radar. Or once they've taken 2 payouts, now they're in our radar, right? But everybody who's on an XFA or everybody who's on a straight to funded, right? There's too many people doing that where risk managers, right, and other people at these companies cannot look at everyone's trade reports. There's certain triggers or things that need to be met before you're on the radar to be looked at. Then there's another set of criteria that, okay, once you're kind of green on all of these things, then that's naturally when we're going to go ahead and call you up. So that's making it a little bit trickier because they're like requiring payouts to either be assessed, right, or analyzed, or to even be called up.
For sure.
Just because you can take out 5 payouts doesn't mean you should be a live trader.
Okay, so tip number
Fuck
1,
that.
take less payouts.
Take less payouts.
Tip number 2 for payouts.
Take less of a payout.
Smaller amount.
Smaller amount.
Leave yourself a buffer.
And tip number 3, and it kind of ties into number 1. I only take a payout once a month. Once a month, right? I know when all my bills are due. They're all on auto pay, right? I don't necessarily need those funds to pay the bills. They're effectively going to replenish the money that's going to get sent out to pay those bills, right? So pick a date that works for you. Pick an amount that also works for you, your expenses, your income goals, and your equity available, right? And so I say build a big enough cushion where maybe you can take whatever your standard payout is going to be. Let's just say it's going to be $3,000 a month, right? So if you need to have a cushion of about 15K, right, and you want to be at $3,000 payouts per month, then you should be at 15 plus 9.
Yeah,
is where you should be at where you take your first payout.
Okay,
right?
so
Because you got your cushion built, and now you've got your first 3 months worth of payouts built in, so you can continue to work that P&L. Because I said work it. Your P&L is going to go up
absolutely
or down.
Great point.
Right? That's the thing is like you could be a phenomenal trader,
and still have drawdown.
but if you don't, it's not even about the drawdown, right? You could have 2 or 3 losers, which that's not really a drawdown.
Sure.
That's just 3 losers. But because you didn't have enough cushion there, you didn't have enough money management in your account, that's what does you in.
Now you're cooked.
That's what does you in.
Great tips. Do you think traders need to focus on one prop firm at a time, or do you think they should try all of them until they find what fits?
No, I think that they should assess them.
Okay.
Right? And I give very, very blatant opinions on the 2 that I recommend. And it was always just one. But because of how much things are changing right now, both in the industry plus at these individual props, I have to have an alternative there. And believe it or not, one of the biggest things that has changed that is the straight to funded option. You know, you brought it up and I'm like, I don't know anything about it because I've been in the same funded account since before Topstep had Topstep X. Before they even rolled out with that platform, I've been on
You're OG, bro.
I'm
You
OG with Topstep, like before a lot of things, even before a lot of people that are over there.
It's true,
I've
bro.
been trading
You've
with
been there
Topstep
for a
longer than a lot
while,
of
bro.
people.
You're
have
one of
been
the ones that
employed.
I saw the first time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, you know, to be in the game that long, because, you know, talking about those leaderboards as well, how many people are here today, gone tomorrow, right? And some people would just be like, oh, you know, like, you know, you're not on the leaderboards. Pay attention to who's on these streams and who's on the leaderboard. Some people just choose to have their information pooled. They don't want to share what their equity balance is. They don't want to share what their intraday win or loss is. They don't want to share what their payouts are. And, you know, a lot of these firms are promoting and preaching transparency and all cards on the table. But personal finance is exactly that. It's personal. Some people don't want to share that. I get that. Now, look, if you're somebody who's selling a product, a service, coaching,
own up to it,
promoting, then yeah, you got to be as transparent as possible. Yeah. But also, you know, if someone was just trading 5 XFAs, right, and is now coming to the scene with, I think there was a chick that I got a starting balance of $250,000.
That's great.
She's in the top 5
because of sim money
on simulated money.
Yeah, see, that's not right. So that's why they're changing it. They have to.
They're trying to figure out that leaderboard. It's tough. Like the way that I look at it,
super hard.
Is there shouldn't be any simulated funds accounted for
on a leaderboard.
in that leaderboard.
No. When you're saying you're the
biggest,
biggest,
should be real money only.
If you're going to be the biggest firm with live traders, you can't really talk about sim money. Okay, so to my question though, one account, one prop firm, try multiple. What's your advice?
So
You gave good tip there, but you didn't answer my question.
And so the answer is assess the available options for prop firms, really assess them, understand their eval, understand the rules or objectives of a sim to funded or an eval, right? And then take a look at what their payout policy is, right? When you could pay out, what days you could pay out. And when I say when, I mean at what point, right? At what point equity-wise or trading day-wise. Then, what days of the month. Some firms are like, you can only request from the 1st to the 3rd, and then the 10th through the 15th, and that's it, right? So you pick the one that, again, suits you best based on your initial assessment. You might later come to learn, okay, Tradeify didn't work for me. Topstep makes more sense, or vice versa.
I didn't like the consistency rule on the instant funded account.
So it is going to be a little bit of a trial error. So as far as the firms go, I believe for the average trader and even for good traders, one firm, one account, one product, maybe two.
Now, the question.
Maybe two.
Now, the question everybody wants to know, Isaac, who's your favorite prop firm?
Who's my...
But before you answer this, because I think everything is up in limbo right now, maybe we don't mention a name. Maybe we say join the Discord to find out who you recommend. Like, where can people go to get that information from you? Maybe because they're listening to this, dude, 6 months, a year from now, and we haven't done another update because you're busy and I'm busy. Where can they go to get that information from you? If things change, dude, like you just said, straight to funded is still fucking new.
Yeah.
What if something else comes out? Where do you share that information? All in the Discord.
All of my opinions are always in my Discord and on my Instagram.
Which we'll have a link in the description to this.
My Instagram stories, that's where you're, if you're not in my Discord, that's where you're
every
seeing...
day, join the team. That's what he says. He's the join the team
Join
guy.
the team, right? Like, you're seeing the P&Ls, you're seeing the charts, you're seeing the entries, you're seeing the exits, you're seeing if it's win or lose. You're seeing what I'm endorsing and what I'm promoting. Again, I don't really consider myself an affiliate of anything. I'm just someone who's going to share his opinion or his insight.
Dude, I see you as an affiliate of the Lord.
I am definitely. I definitely am.
I'm an affiliate of the good Lord above.
The good Lord.
The cigar gods.
And I'm always going to tell the truth.
Gods.
I'm always going to tell the truth. I'm always going to call things out, what I like, what I don't like. I think Topstep is still cornering the market. You were bringing up drama earlier.
Yeah.
And what I really think is going to happen, and we'll see. We're going to assess this 3 months from now. Maybe you can even do a little clip and we talk about what I said versus what ended up happening. I think while some of these bigger fish are feuding, and also these prop firms are trying to figure out what to do with people hedging between firms, people hedging between accounts, people really not just exploiting at this point, but abusing the copy trading abilities, right? Or availabilities. I think that while all of these people are like getting caught up in that chop and in that mess, I think something's cooking behind the scenes where someone's just going to come and just dominate.
It's probably someone that already has a prop firm in business and is seeing this. It's probably not a new firm, like a new random person. It's probably someone that's seeing the bullshit.
Somebody who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Correct. That's what I would guess too. I think you've given so many good tips, bro. And I know.
For me,
go ahead.
A trader like me, a trader like you, at this point in our career and in our trading, Topstep doesn't make sense, right? If I lost my funded account today, I would not go and start a combine.
Why?
I have 5 past combines at Topstep right now.
But why would you do that again? And everyone is thinking the same thing you're thinking, bro.
Is what? Why would I go through the eval process again?
If I believe in myself,
and even if I have a true and tested strategy and I have the discipline.
You know what's so funny about it, bro? It's like you could even say, oh, I passed an eval before, so I don't want to do it again. Think about that. Not like, oh, I've never done it, so I don't want to try. No, doing it and passing it makes you confident to go do it straight to funded, which sucks because Michael said they're never going to do straight to funded, so he's basically setting people up to leave his company and go buy somewhere else.
And that's why I'm saying
that's crazy.
Eventually he's going to have to have that offering. Topstep needs to do one or both. They need to either start offering a straight to XFA. So it's going to be an XXFA, express funded account, meaning you could just buy into an express funded account.
Right.
They got to do something like that, or they're going to have to offer larger offerings. Up to $500,000.
Yeah.
Right. 250K, I think, is a great sweet spot to go up from a 150K account.
I agree.
I think an offering like that, plus to do a $500,000,
that's big.
The buy into that would probably be hefty. Probably like
you're not going to sell a lot.
$750. But it's for the right trader.
For sure.
It can pay dividends for them.
Oh my God, dude, we buy those all day.
All day long.
All day.
So for me, if I had to go and buy something today, as soon as we got off of this interview, I would get an account at Tradeify.
Yeah.
Right. But again, I know of some things that are in the works cooking. People are always coming up to me for feedback because obviously from my business outside of trading, what I do for businesses to help them scale, optimize, implement new facets of the business, new offerings. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I got my ear to the ground and one eye open, trying to, observe everything while still managing, my funded account at Topstep. I do have 2 straight to funded accounts. And that's really what solidified it with me at Tradeify was just like, you were saying, I passed the combine once, right? It's not the person that passes the combine once. It's the person that knows that they can pass a combine
for sure,
blindfolded in 3 days.
But I'm saying also the guy that does it once is now going to be like, dude, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Right. So in both sides of it, you're exactly right. The straight to funded is now, in my opinion, the best option. I think the firms.
But if you can't, if you've never, I would never tell someone to go straight to funded
and
first,
it's a little more
right?
expensive.
It is. And sometimes it's 5 times more expensive.
To pay $500 for $6K of drawdown.
Yeah.
And
you're paying $500 for $5,500 of drawdown.
Basically,
right?
yes.
If you lose 6,000, right, you're losing 5,500 of
plus
fake money plus your 5.
So my thought though is, where else can firms find an advantage? Well, Tradeify has a pretty small payout cap. I love you, Brett, but I don't like the payout cap.
Yeah.
It's very small. $3,000 as a payout cap is too low. Huge hole.
Unsimulated.
Unsimulated. Huge.
Payouts on live are going to be real different.
Way better.
But I'd argue to that point, I didn't mean to cut you off, is if not 3, then what? Right? Then what's the number? Because here's the thing. You might think it's too small because you could get paid out more.
Yeah.
But the average trader doesn't come anywhere near a $3,000 payout.
What do you think the average is? 1,600, 1,500?
I think 1,000.
You think so? So
people love 4 figures. People love seeing a comma.
Yeah.
So I think 1,000 is probably the average payout. Look, Topstep does their payouts. Yesterday's total payouts, right?
How much was it?
Right? No, so I don't know.
They do that graph.
All I care about is what I make and what I lose, right? I'm not fixated on P&Ls. I'm not fixated on leaderboards or anything like that, right? But I would just say easy math, right? Because they're real public about payouts. So just look at whatever that number was times however many traders took a payout. There's your average. You're saying, what do I think the average is? I don't need to think.
I've seen it before. It's 1,600. It's $2,000. You're right. It's about that. So now, knowing that, then I get what you're saying about the payout caps. Is it's not as big of a con. Where do you, as we get to the end of this prop firm discussion, do you feel like instant funded accounts are almost too good to be true? Is it a scam?
No. It's just an option for people that are good, that don't want to or can't waste their time with an eval anymore.
Love that.
I think the eval route's the way to go because all the sim to funded is another eval.
For sure.
But again, it's just not wasting the time for the people who know for a fact, because you have to pass and then pass, right?
Yes.
Pass a combine, then pass an XFA. You got to get called up.
Yeah.
That's another statement for you got to pass.
Right.
So for people who, and again, you go back to the OG Topstep days when I got funded for the first time, it was step 1, step 2, funded. Right. Then step 1, step 2, pro account, funded. Right. Then step 2, so it was step 1, step 2, express funded, and then premium funded. Now it's just 1 XFA live. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't, but again, doing this, my first time funded, I think was in 2015 with Topstep.
God. I didn't realize it was that long ago.
9 years.
That's when I started trading.
9 years since I've been funded with Topstep. It was close to 1.5 to 2 years of trading and developing the strategy and developing the indicator to getting to the point of funding. When I got funded with Topstep, it was on a 30K account. They don't even offer that anymore.
What's crazy about that though, they built that business off good people like you. And to see them now, Michael tweeted at me and he was like, yeah, we're not doing affiliates and stuff anymore. That's real sad.
Because they don't need to. I said, they're almost too big to fail. And I have my opinions. I've had my issues as well.
Wouldn't it be nice if they took care of their affiliates? If there was a company that took care of their affiliates, Isaac, and they were like, hey, buddy, we're actually going to have you meet with us. We want to support you. What do you need from us? Not us bossing you around. Because it's too often that these companies don't take good enough care of their affiliates that literally are their marketing. They're barely running ads. They have very small ad budgets, some of these firms, because they put all their money into their affiliates. Yeah. But then they're quick to, we're big enough, poo-poo, which is stupid. I mean, they just lost rips.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. I
to go through so many people is pretty crazy. That's all I'm going to say about
I think
that.
on the rip side, and obviously...
I don't need a letter coming to me from Michael Patak or anybody. I'm just saying.
And so this is all speculation, but I think that it was just the relationship. I think they just parted ways. Yeah. I don't think it was anything...
You don't think it had to do with PW putting up his identity and all that stuff?
It could be. If it does, business is business.
Shouldn't they have known that, though? no, his real name is not Rips. Like
Maybe-
they knew his real name.
They know his real name.
Right.
They can't have a trader agreement without knowing his name. They got to have his bank account information, right? His contact
So
information.
it could be what you said, that a relationship just was done.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they had to have known. It's just not a matter of whether they don't care or not, but does it have any bearing on his trading? Right? Like, whatever the instance is, like, and I'm not saying he's a good trader or a bad trader or
For
whatever,
sure.
right? But like talking about relationships, what I'll tell you is what I don't like. Okay. And sorry to anybody over at Topstep, MP, Hogue, Andre, you guys know
Dude,
I
MP
love you
hates
guys.
me,
I
bro. They're
love
not
the
listening
brand.
to this.
I love MP. You never know. Here's the thing. I
Bro,
want to say that MP likes me,
They
so
all
maybe
think,
he will listen to
They
this.
all
and I
think I'm
doubt he is.
racist, bro. They all think I'm racist. But
Well,
go ahead.
we know you're not.
We know I'm
so
racist. We know I'm
you're
racist.
as international as I am. But two things. I feel like the changes that they've made most recently have only really hurt two groups of people, not just one, but two groups of people out of all the available groups. And it's their best traders and their affiliates. That's not a good business.
From the outside
model.
looking in, I'm like, that just doesn't
It's
make sense.
not. That does not make for good business.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Banning traders, banning affiliates is insane. Like,
insane.
That's again, unless there's blatant fraud going on, right? Because that's a whole nother ball.
Yeah, if you're gaming the game,
Right.
you're out. You're out. You have to play by the
Right.
rules.
And then at that point, you got some other agency or something that you're probably
you know
on
what they
their
call that,
radar
bro? They
as
call
well.
you. They call it gotcha rules, right? Now it's like before Apex was really the firm with the gotcha rules.
Yeah.
Now some of these other firms are tiptoeing that line closer to the gotchas. Oh, you did really good, but you actually traded too many lots 2 weeks ago. Failed.
And a lot of these changes that are being made now
Yeah.
are based on changes that they made or things that they implemented earlier that they shouldn't ever have.
Oh,
And I'm not saying
great
they
point.
meaning one prop firm.
For new people like me, we don't know that. We don't know they're walking back in some cases.
yeah.
Great point.
And again, kind of pointing the fingers at one firm saying, oh, look at you guys now changing this on payouts and scaling in and dollar cost average and stuff. And like now, again, a few seasons later,
Here we
and
are.
you're the person going through it. So again,
Correct.
you never know what's on the other end of the horizon. When you get to that point, you just have to constantly be looking to evolve, improve, and you're not going to make everybody happy, right? I still think Topstep is probably one of the best prop firms for probably the majority of traders. But there's this group, like, I'm not teaching anybody to trade with me to be mediocre.
No.
Right?
We piss excellence in big tick energy.
We
bro.
try to.
We try to. We try to.
But that's what I strive for. Is I tell people that all the time. Excellence squared, right? You got to do better than better
Love that.
in everything
Love
that you
that.
in everything that you do. So I think it's one of those things that if they don't start listening to their core customer, not necessarily where the biggest conversions are, but who their core customer is, you got to tailor your business to that core, because everybody else is just here now, right? Here today, gone tomorrow. But it's just who are the people, for example, like there's no reason why they should have someone like me, for example, who's 9 years in, been very, very loyal to the brand now, kind of looking in it. There's always finding that balance of like the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes you are out of grass on the side that you were on, right? So it's not necessarily we're going grass is greener. It's just going where there's grass at this point, right? Because
Facts, bro.
this is all got mowed down. So I think we're going to see a lot of things shaking up. I'd be really curious actually to see. I hope some of you guys that are watching this right now already have your tickets to this boot camp. And if you don't, use whatever links Austin has in here to get them. There's only 10 seats left. You're going to have access to 6 of us?
Well, and what I
Five?
was going to say is we have 2 sponsors for the event. So we have really good information coming from both of them. We have people that are coming to this event that have made more money than some of our speakers.
Yeah.
So the quality of trader that'll be at the event is worth rubbing shoulders with.
I don't think, not for, and it's a really low price point, right?
$500.
bucks. But a knucklehead can't
Well, you know what?
afford or throw in
It's
$500,
benefit of the
right?
doubt. A hotel, we're doing it at a 4-star hotel. That's $400 a night.
Yeah.
Okay, you need Wednesday night, Thursday night, and at least for most people, probably Friday
And you're
night.
already in Tampa, Florida, so you might as
And
well
you're in
throw
Tampa, so
another
you're
2
probably
nights
staying
on
until exactly.
Make a
And
vacation out of it.
What's a flight? $400 or $500 a minimum after
Easy.
back. Right. So
I have someone coming in from Ireland.
that's what I'm saying.
I
bro.
have somebody coming in from Canada, people coming in from
It's awesome.
Texas, people
It's awesome.
driving from Florida. I got people literally internationally coming to this event, right? The idea is like when we're doing our breakout sessions in the morning part and like trading, people are gonna walk out of there
Making
$5,000,
money.
$7,000, $8,000
Oh, yeah.
richer
I should have put
than
up
when
the-
they got there.
I wanted to like show everybody. I mean, they may have seen it already, but the room, the way it'll be set up is like you, me, and the boys will be in the front of the room trading, changing basically whose screen they can see. Austin's doing this, boom, pass it to Isaac, show him what Isaac's doing. How are you reading this? That's where I think they're going to get the most value. Then in the afternoon, we're doing the special presentations. It's also a 2-day event. I can't tell you, bro, at the Dallas event, and if you go on my Instagram, everybody, you can see the highlights and everything. Our guys made a cool video. How many people came up to me?
I was glad I couldn't make it.
Bro,
I wanted to go to Dallas.
I
for
know.
you.
day 2, they come into the room and they're like, I'm so happy to be here. Instead of like, oh, I'm tired, I want to go home. They're like, now I can really immerse myself in everything you just talked at me for a day.
Yeah.
It's like a whole, so that's why I've started doing 2-day events. This will be my 13th event since 2019.
And then breaking out after this session, right?
Oh,
Day
we're
1
going
and day
out,
2.
bro.
We're in Tampa,
We're going
Florida,
out,
man.
bro. It's going to be so much fun.
We're going to have some fun, man. The content, the pictures, the relationships, the people that aren't at the event that we're going to meet.
Are we going
as a
to the
group
gin
when we're out
joint?
there.
Where are we going?
I'm gonna try to put some itinerary together, and then we'll circle back and try to figure that out. But bringing it up is like, it would be really interesting to see, because that's May 1st, right? So it's going to be 2 months from now.
Less than that.
Less
This will be
than
out
2 months.
March 8th, I think.
Okay.
So it'll be less than 2 months away.
Less than 2 months.
We
I'll be
wanna
really interested to see what is still relevant that we're talking about now, and what's changed
In the prop firm stuff.
in that less than 60 days.
A lot.
In the
I'm
prop
sure
firm
a lot.
space, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a
Dude,
lot.
even
So
like-
here's the thing.
Yeah.
To that point, you're going to want to be following me on Instagram, because obviously my stories, that's where there's a lot of leaks. A lot of leaks, a lot of information. Obviously, the only inner circle is in the Discord, more specifically the premium subscribers, the people who are on with me every day from 9:15 to 12. They're the ones that are getting all of all of my thoughts in real time, as I'm seeing emails come in from prop firms, tweets come in from traders, feedback coming in from my traders.
That's why it's called OnlyFunds.
That's why it's only funds, right? I'm just getting all the updates when it comes to money. You're getting it live and in real time. And a lot of people don't realize, the big tick energy portion, the BTE community, that's the trading facet or the trading aspect of my Discord. But my company's called Only Funds. Big Tick Energy falls under that. But we have, Revitalize and, Prosperity.
And you had Big Tick Energy before PW had the Big Dick House, just for the record.
The BDH.
You had it.
And I didn't know what the BDH stood for. I kind of had a feeling.
Maybe he took it from you a little bit, bro.
Maybe
he does like you. He
But
did say you were a good-looking guy with the cigars. He did say
he did.
He did say that.
But it's been Big Tick Energy for a while. Even back when they were originally talking at Topstep about doing this trading league in Vegas, we had a small team of us together, and we were the Big Tick Swingers.
Oh my God!
Right? Because Big Tick Energy, I'm just like, so we're out here with Big Tick swinging.
That's awesome.
On these trades,
That's
right?
awesome.
But that didn't play out, and they're making changes to the trading league and all that stuff. But I will tell you guys, follow me on Instagram, join my Discord. My Discord's completely free unless you want to trade with me daily. You want to get my
And we'll have a
levels
discount code?
daily. Yeah, you still have the same one. I still got people from the first episode that are still joining.
I'll put the discount code because I'd like you guys to check it out. I'm in it.
I get
in there for
DMs.
free. That's where we're going to get the updates. You get DMs from the
I
podcast.
get DMs and PMs on Instagram and on Discord. People,
I'm
hey,
happy to do that.
I found this by way of the ASFX podcast, right? So I always like to make sure, do you have the code on there, ASFX 25? And then they join, and we're in the middle of a boot camp right now. We're crushing it, crushing it, man.
Virtual
You've
boot
seen
camp,
my stories,
right? Virtual.
It's all virtual.
virtual,
Yeah.
yes.
I call it a boot camp when I do these quarterly.
Dude, that's what's like when you
do.
do this shit. It's like, do you want to call it a boot camp? Do you want to call it a seminar? Do you want to call it a master class?
Master class.
Right, whatever, dude. It's a bunch of traders getting together for a great event, and I will make sure there's links for Isaac stuff down below, everybody. I think what people will probably take out of this the most, I think we gave good tips on the prop firm stuff for sure, and I think some of them will be new to some people, but like your transparency, your candidness, just real about the prop firm space and being with Topstep for so long, I really hope that people take your input seriously of like, what are companies doing well? What are they not doing well? What are you as the trader supposed to look out for? What are you supposed to be focused on? You covered all that, bro. So this was great. As far as like a part 2, we hit every question. We really did. So I think we should, since now we have this studio, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not, I did a studio in Miami. I got one in Miami. It's way better. It's like really, really nice, but this is pretty good, and I think
I like this.
I think
it helps that we can smoke in
here. You can't smoke in the Miami one. We can smoke here. So I think the viewers, you got to tell me, you like the in-person stuff. I think it's easier to watch.
I just feel like this is such a lonely business.
It is, dude.
Right? Not necessarily on your side, on the content creation side, right?
Super
As an
lonely.
Influencer, but the trading business is lonely.
Super lonely.
And a lot of people see the value, once they've learned my strategy, once they've gotten my indicator, once they've really gotten into their groove, they stay around for the community aspect. See, I'm done at noon. Right. But when I sign out, everybody goes into the premium chat
and they just
channel,
start talking and hanging out.
and then they just stay in. They keep trading because my strategy works all the way through to the close.
Awesome.
I just don't have the time to keep trading into the close because of the other things that I'm involved in, right?
Sure.
But I think that approach that I have, what my degrees are in, right? Some of the positions that I've held at certain companies, right? I'm able to really assess things with an unbiased approach and just see what works and like what doesn't work. And I just always try to approach like the trading space in that way. Like, I don't want to brag. And some people hate me because they're like, oh, you come off cocky. It's like, well, it's really easy to sound.
Why? Because you dress well? I don't think you're cocky.
Right? It's real easy to sound cocky when you're just
confident.
like when you're
and
confident, when you're like
works.
bringing up like stats, right? When you're just like, this is this is that, right? Like no one has a live account at Topstep older than mine. I'm like, as far as like, not even my tenure with Topstep, but just in one single account without blowing it up and getting to zero, which we all know that's a hard thing to do.
Bro, that is so impressive.
Right? My live account is from 2023.
That's crazy.
Right? We're in 2025 now,
That's
right?
amazing.
I've held the #1 live funded trader spot on that leaderboard. So like, I know what it takes to get to #1, to be #1, to stay #1, to not be #1 anymore, right? Fortunately, I haven't lost a live account or whatever. And it's not possible with the date. Like, I have a daily loss limit, right? Some traders
You'd
don't
have to
anymore.
lose like 1,000,000 days in a row to lose the account. Not 1,000,000, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
A lot. You know, February of last year, I lost 20 grand, and I'm still here in the same account 1 year later.
Right.
We're in
That says a
February
lot.
now.
That says a
This
lot.
February, I made money.
Exactly.
Right? Last February, I did not. Right. But so far, really crushing it with some big numbers. Actually, last year, I made less money as a trader than I did the year before. The summer slump going into the election,
Dude,
those are
welcome
really.
to the fucking business. You know better than anybody. No trader makes the same amount of money year over year.
I tell people that hedge funds have losing years.
For sure, bro.
Losing months, losing quarters, losing spells, right? Like, just, you got to know how to lose. You got to be a good loser in this market. And I think knowing how to lose well is ultimately what helps you win in the long term.
Dude, I think
and keeps you in this game.
I was going to say, that's great tips.
Anybody, look, again, if I can teach you a strategy that makes $1,000 a day 80% of the time, but if you're not managing your money outside of the trades, right? Well, and I'm talking about the payouts. Everyone's focused on managing the trades and having a system and strategies, signals, bots, indicators. That's all fine and dandy, but you could still lose live accounts or XFA time and time again if you're not managing that cushion right. Right? What do businesses say all the time? We had a great business. We had really solid revenues, but unfortunately, because of money management, right? Cash flow wasn't the
balance,
problem. Right? Money management's ultimately what did my business under.
Sure.
It's the same thing with your trading account. You got to leave yourself with enough cushion to actually be able to go to work every day.
I love it, bro. Love all of it. I really appreciate you making the drive. I know it's a little further for you than me, but I appreciate you.
Told you, I'm in Ybor all the time.
I know, you know these streets.
The restaurants,
He's on
the
them
cigar
streets.
lounges, the shopping.
Everybody, links in the description. We're going to pin it here. We're going to have a part 3.
Okay.
We're going to have a part 3.
As long as you keep inviting me, I'll
bro,
keep coming.
100%. I really hope that even, especially at the end of this episode, the back half of it, you could tell you're comfortable. This is the true you, the true me. I hope it shows people come hang out with us. We're going to get cigars. These are the kind of conversations we're going to be having. Of course, we'll say a little bit more than we can ever say publicly on the internet in private.
Of course.
You have to watch what we say a little bit.
And we'll be able to probably talk about those things in public
yes.
by the next go around. But this is always fun. Again, my whole thing is just, there's a lot of crap out there, right? So I'm going to support anything that's doing some sort of good in the industry, in this space. And it's really just kind of combating a lot of the frauds that are in there. You know, recently we've seen P&Ls and trade reports being exposed
Photoshopped
or shared
with the wrong font,
only to be
embarrassing,
shared again in real life. And people are being banned from platforms.
It's crazy.
People are being banned from prop firms. Businesses are being broken up.
So watch who you're following. That's what he's saying. Watch who you're following, man. There's a lot of crap.
Smoke and mirrors, but like, what I say is, I screenshot my payout request emails. I screenshot the deposits, right? These are not affiliate deposits for people using a Topstep code. These are not, money hitting my bank account from, Discord, for example, right? Like, whatever the revenue stream is on that. These are profits coming out of a trading account from profits put up or profits put down. And again, even when you have a losing week or a losing month, you're still able to put in your payout and take your paycheck. It's like a business owner still getting paid, even though the business didn't do well that month, right?
Absolutely.
Or maybe even took a small loss.
Absolutely.
So you got to be able to operate your P&L. Or never trade your P&L, right? You trade the charts.
But actually get money out.
But you have to know how to manage your P&L. Not intraday, but when you close shop for the day, it's what do you do after hours, on the weekends, the next day, etc. If you dial that stuff in, and it's part of my masterclass in my Discord goes into money management, right?
It's
and
important.
Figuring out your current budget and expenses, right? And then scaling that into the lifestyle you want to live. Then what does a payout, mean to that? How do you match your current income? But it starts by locking in gains, managing the risk first, eliminating those losses. Some people will go and work a whole day at, a retail chain, for example, right? Selling handbags or watches, and put a 9-hour shift, right? At like an optometry office, right? Like helping the doctor for $400 for the whole day. but will be up 6 minutes in a trade, $800, and not lock that in. Like all of a sudden, that's not enough.
It's crazy.
But like going to your job from 8 in the morning
that
to
just
5
shows you the
o'clock at night.
psychological reprogramming that people need to go through.
Yeah.
And
So
that's where-
like if you're up like, you know, an average day for someone in a few minutes, lock it in. If you're up someone's week or month in a day, lock it in. It's just that. Focus on good trades, eliminating risk, locking in that profit, and then managing the money outside of the trades. And that's how you stay in this business for a long time.
That's the mic drop at the end there,
That's
buddy.
it.
Listeners, description, links. We appreciate you guys very much. Isaac, thank you, buddy.
It's always a
Appreciate
good
you,
time,
buddy.
man. I'm
We'll
looking
see
forward to
you
the
all
next
in
one.
Tampa, everybody. Get your tickets. Next 10 buyers, someone's taking a free hotel room from me. So links
Let's
are
go.
all below, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.